Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know first, the AI supercycle shatters the memory chip market with hyperscalers locking in HBM supply and creating a new memory divide. So we'll discuss why this new memory divide matters and what it means for smaller tech companies and the future of AI software innovation. Second, China's frenzy over open source AI agent OpenClaw triggers a 97% price war as the government issues security warnings while offering massive developer subsidies. We'll explore how this paradoxical strategy could transform China's AI ecosystem and its push for technological independence from Silicon Valley. Third, a top US regulator rebukes Amazon for challenging SpaceX's 1 million satellite plan while its own Project Kuiper falls far behind. We'll analyze why this public rebuke is a turning point and how it could affect the competitive dynamics in the race for low Earth orbit dominance. Fourth, Elon Musk unveils Macrohard, a Tesla and XAI venture to create an AI that emulates entire companies backed by a $1.25 trillion merger. Today, we'll take a closer look at this ambitious venture and its implications for the future of software, corporate liability, and labour markets. Fifth, ChatGPT uninstalls surge 295% after a Pentagon deal as users flock to rival Anthropic, which publicly rejected the military contract. We'll examine how this user exodus is forcing OpenAI to counter with its risky Sora integration and what it signals for the AI super app war. For decades, memory chip stocks were a trader's game, a boom-bust-repeat pattern, but industry executives are now on the record saying that AI has structurally broken that cycle for good. While some of this may sound familiar, the twist today is that top executives aren't just hinting at pressure, they're declaring the old cycle over. Now, to be fair, we've heard this kind of end of the cycle story before. Historically, during a major tech boom, massive demand leads to massive investment in new factories, which eventually leads to oversupply and a price crash. The question now is whether AI is truly different or if we're just in a much longer, more intense super cycle. What's new here? Building on how AI build-outs were already starving lower margin segments like smartphones, is the shift to multi-year locked-in deals something that didn't exist at this scale in prior booms? The numbers are staggering. Shares of Micron are up approximately 153% over the past year. SanDisk, which only listed last year, is up an incredible 1,500%. The real bottleneck isn't just any memory. It's a special type called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Think of regular computer RAM as a multi-lane highway. HBM is like stacking multiple highways on top of each other, all connected by thousands of tiny vertical superhighways. This 3D structure allows AI chips to access massive amounts of data incredibly fast. But building these stacked chips is complex and slow, which is the root cause of the shortage. This is backed up by a direct quote from HPE CEO Antonio Neri, who said, "We will continue to raise prices because the industry will continue to raise prices. There is not enough supply for demand." This perfectly reflects TrendForce's projection that AI data centers could consume up to 70% of all high-end memory by 2026. An executive at Seagate just told the South China Morning Post that these price hikes are likely to become the new normal for the next few years. And the data supports this. We're seeing reports that contract prices for server memory have surged by up to 95% in a single quarter, with forecasts suggesting these sharp increases will continue. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is a fundamental shift in the power dynamic. South Korea's SK Hynix confirms that its largest customers, the hyperscalers, are ditching one-year deals for long-term contracts to lock in supply. This formalizes behavior we've seen before, like ByteDance seeking bundled guarantees from Samsung, and stretches it over multiple years. And that's creating what you could call a new memory divide. As giants like Amazon, Google, and Meta lock up all the available HBM supply for years to come, everyone else is left fighting for scraps. Research shows that smaller cloud providers and hardware makers are only receiving about 35 to 40% of the memory they request. This mirrors what's happening on the consumer side, with smartphone makers being deprioritized and average selling prices jumping roughly 14%. Believe it or not, Broadcom CEO Hock Tan just revealed on his earnings call that he's already locked in his company's supply all the way through 2028. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. escalating from a business issue into a geopolitical one. For years, the focus was on Taiwan and its advanced chip making. Now, high bandwidth memory dominated by South Korean companies is seen as just as critical. This is why you're seeing governments get involved. The US Chips and Science Act, for example, is now funding companies like Micron with over $6 billion to build advanced memory plants on American soil. This frantic land grab for a scarce resource is creating a new conflict. The biggest tech companies are now battling for a piece of the pie, and even they are getting nervous. Meta's Vice President of Engineering, Yi Jiun-song, went on the record saying, "We're absolutely worried about HBM supply." As the hyperscalers hoard memory with no relief until 2027 at the earliest, the industry has entered a new era of sustained high prices. But here's the fascinating ripple effect. If the hardware is going to be this expensive and scarce, it forces a change in the software itself. We are already seeing a surge in innovation for what you might call lean AI, new algorithms and model designs that are radically more memory efficient, all designed specifically to work around these hardware shortages. The hardware ceiling is now dictating the shape of both infrastructure and software for years to come. We were just talking about how hardware scarcity is forcing innovation in AI software. Now, let's shift to a software story playing out in China, where a completely different dynamic is unfolding. The situation presents a fascinating duality. The Chinese government is issuing official security warnings about a new AI tool, while at the same time, local officials are throwing up to 10 million yuan at anyone who uses it. And those official security warnings aren't just for show. Cybersecurity firm Security Scorecard found nearly 43,000 OpenClaw systems exposed directly to the internet, with thousands vulnerable to complete takeover. They even found hundreds of malicious skills on its official marketplace designed to steal data, so the risk is very real. The tool is called OpenClaw, a lobster-themed open source AI agent that can handle tasks on its own. Interestingly enough, this tool wasn't even made in China. It was created by a European developer who now, in a twist of irony, works for OpenAI. Because it's open source, it's become a key catalyst for China's goal of achieving technological independence from the US. Major tech giants are all in. Tencent has launched its own Lobster Special Forces built on the tool. TikTok owner ByteDance rolled out a version that works in a web browser, no complex setup needed. So the thing is, this is a classic business strategy. They are essentially wrapping the free open source tool with their own user-friendly interfaces. It's a land grab. The goal is to get users hooked on their version first and then figure out how to sell them premium features or enterprise services down the line. The result, according to Security Scorecard, usage of OpenClaw in China has now officially surpassed the US. One startup CEO said, "I have friends who are not even in the tech industry. They are also running it." This craze is not just about adopting a new tool, it's fueling China's entire AI ecosystem. On one major platform for developers, the top 3 AI models used with OpenClaw are all Chinese, with their combined usage being double that of the top models from Google and Anthropic. The effect has been a complete shock to the market. Since OpenClaw can work with any underlying AI model, it turns those expensive models into interchangeable commodities. This has triggered a brutal price war. In the last month, Chinese tech giants like Alibaba and Baidu have slashed the prices of their AI models by up to 97% just to compete for users. This is changing the market on the ground. One startup, Vialoop, originally planned to focus on the US, but is now pivoting to a China-first launch, citing a significant rise in consumer willingness to pay for AI services. A major shift. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play. While state media warns of security risks, local districts are offering massive incentives, including equity financing of up to $1.46 million and direct subsidies. Cities like Shenzhen are rolling out policies literally called the AI Lobster 10, aiming to create a boom of one-person companies built on this technology. They are throwing money at this to become AI innovation hubs, but it raises a huge question. Is this creating real, sustainable businesses or just a speculative bubble that will pop the second the subsidies run out? This isn't just a trend. It's being called the next ChatGPT moment. To put this in perspective, the OpenClaw project has now gained more stars on the GitHub coding platform than Linux, the transformative open source operating system that underpins modern computing. Speaking of intense technological competition, another high-stakes battle is heating up, this time in low Earth orbit between two American giants. A top US regulator just put Amazon on blast over its escalating battle with SpaceX. In a stunning public statement, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr told Amazon it should focus on the fact that it will fall roughly 1,000 satellites short of its own upcoming deployment milestone, rather than spending time and resources filing petitions against companies that are actually putting thousands of satellites in orbit. The public rebuke came after Amazon urged the FCC to reject a massive new proposal from SpaceX, an orbital data center network powered by up to 1 million satellites. It's crucial to understand what this proposal actually is, because it's a huge deal. SpaceX isn't just proposing more internet satellites. They want to create a massive interconnected data center in space. The idea is to leverage the near constant solar power available in orbit to run powerful computers for AI processing, bypassing the massive energy and cooling costs of data centers here on Earth. This is a radical vision for the future of computing. In its filing, Amazon dismissed the plan as a lofty ambition rather than a real plan and what amounts to a publicity and narrative shaping exercise. But a proposal for 1 million satellites is incredibly controversial, and it has scientists genuinely worried. It dramatically increases the risk of something called the Kessler syndrome. This is a nightmare scenario where the density of objects in orbit gets so high that one collision creates a chain reaction, exponentially filling orbit with junk until it becomes unusable. To put this in perspective, some scientists believe low Earth orbit can safely handle around 100,000 satellites. SpaceX is proposing 10 times that number. Here's where it gets interesting. While trying to block its rival, Amazon is simultaneously asking regulators for a 24-month extension on its own satellite deployment deadline, admitting it cannot meet its goals due to delays. The numbers reveal the core of the conflict. SpaceX's Starlink currently has around 9,000 satellites in orbit. Amazon, after investing more than $10 billion into its competing Project Kuiper, has launched just over 200. What really brought this to a head is the fact that low Earth orbit is starting to look like what economists call a natural monopoly. The first company to get enough satellites up there creates an almost insurmountable barrier to entry for everyone else. Recent data shows that SpaceX's Starlink already accounts for 97% of all satellite-based internet speed tests. This isn't just a lead, it's total market dominance. And that's what has Amazon so worried. The power imbalance is so stark that Amazon has even paid its rival SpaceX to launch some of its own Kuiper satellites. This really exposes just how limited the global launch market is. Amazon had to go to its biggest competitor because there simply aren't enough reliable, heavy lift rockets available from other companies to meet its own deadlines. It's a major strategic vulnerability for any company trying to compete with SpaceX's vertical integration. This is a bare-knuckle brawl for the future of space. With its own project struggling, Amazon appears to be shifting the battle from the marketplace to the regulatory arena. Now, the central power struggle is out in the open, with a key government official publicly calling foul, and the FCC chairman's public criticism might be more than just calling out one company. Some experts see this as part of an unspoken US industrial strategy to back a proven domestic champion, SpaceX, to accelerate American dominance in space infrastructure, especially as a counter to the rapid advancements being made by global competitors like China. The FCC chairman has already signaled the likely outcome, stating in separate remarks that he does not expect Amazon's petition against SpaceX to get much traction. We were just discussing SpaceX's dominance in orbit, and now Elon Musk is leveraging that power for his most ambitious project yet, with a name that says it all, Macrohard. In a direct shot at the software industry, the tech entrepreneur announced a joint venture between Tesla and his AI company xAI. His stated goal? To build a system capable of emulating the functions of entire software companies. Musk himself said, quote, "That is why the program is called Macrohard," a funny reference to Microsoft. Now, get this. This is a massive leap beyond the AI assistants we know today. Current AIs, even advanced ones, are designed to automate specific tasks. Macrohard's goal is to replicate the functions of an entire organization. Actually, pulling this off is an incredible challenge. As you add more AI agents, the complexity of coordinating them grows exponentially, creating bottlenecks and security risks. Researchers have found that a huge portion of malicious prompts can bypass the safety features in these kinds of systems. Here's how it works. The The system uses xAI's Grok language model as a navigator, paired with a Tesla-developed AI agent that learns by processing real-time video of a computer screen and mimicking keyboard and mouse actions. The core strategic insight here is something called transfer learning. Tesla's self-driving AI has been trained on billions of miles of real-world video, learning to navigate the physical world. The bet is that the core lessons from that training, recognizing objects, predicting actions, and navigating complex systems can be transferred to help an AI learn to navigate a digital environment like a computer's graphical user interface. This makes the corporate merger seem less like a financial maneuver and more like a strategic necessity. This comes as similar AI agents are already spooking investors who fear the disruption of established software business models. And this isn't just a future threat. The numbers are already showing the impact. One 2025 report indicated that over 10,000 jobs were cut in a single month due to AI adoption. The economic disruption is happening right now, but the story gets bigger. This isn't just a software project. It's a massive consolidation of Musk's empire. The announcement follows a recent all-stock merger between SpaceX and xAI, creating a combined entity valued at a staggering $1.25 trillion. That's $1 trillion for SpaceX and $250 billion for xAI. This is on top of a separate $2 billion investment Tesla made into xAI just months ago. The plan is to run the system on a hybrid of Tesla's own AI chips and xAI's server hardware. Tesla's custom AI4 chip has a unique feature, failover redundancy. It's essentially two parallel computers that constantly cross-verify each other's work. However, they are still relying heavily on NVIDIA's powerful GPUs because their next-generation AI5 chip has been delayed. Musk has even cited orbital data centers as a key reason for the SpaceX merger. It sounds like science fiction, but there's a real strategy here. The idea is that in space, you have access to uninterrupted solar power, and the cold vacuum could theoretically help with cooling, but the engineering hurdles are immense. A vacuum actually makes it hard to dissipate heat, and there's the constant threat of radiation and debris. It's a high-risk, high-reward gamble that leverages SpaceX's key advantage, cheaper launch costs. Ultimately, the move merges a rocket company, a car company, and an AI startup into a single colossal force. It's a $1 trillion bet that an AI can be built to do the job of an entire company, and it forces us to ask some very difficult questions. If an AI can be a company, who is liable when it breaks the law? Who owns the intellectual property it creates? The rise of these digital companies may require us to completely rewrite our legal frameworks for corporate liability, IP, and labour itself. From the theoretical future of AI companies to the messy reality of today's AI market, a major power struggle is splitting the world of artificial intelligence. Let's start with a single statistic that might just change your entire perspective on this. Uninstalls for ChatGPT just surged by a staggering 295%. This isn't a glitch, it's a user exodus. What this signals is the AI market beginning to split into two camps: companies that prioritize features above all else, and those that are building their brand on ethics. This is the first major sign that a growing number of consumers are voting with their feet, choosing platforms they feel align with their values. The core of the conflict is this: OpenAI's top rival, Anthropic, has seen a boom in popularity for its chatbot Claude. A key reason is that Anthropic publicly refused a Pentagon order that would allow its AI to be used for mass surveillance and autonomous weapons. In stark contrast, OpenAI agreed to the Pentagon's terms. While OpenAI framed that agreement with safety red lines, the fallout was immediate, with a wave of users deleting ChatGPT in protest. The numbers show a clear cause and effect. While ChatGPT uninstalls were spiking, Anthropic's Claude saw a 69% surge in downloads, catapulting it to the top of the US App Store. We previously highlighted Sensor Tower data showing Claude's daily signups tripled and paid subscriptions more than doubled. Today's download spike is the continuation of that trend, not a blip. A controversial ethical decision by one company directly led to a massive gain for its competitor. Now, OpenAI is reportedly making a high-stakes move to win those users back. According to The Verge, the plan is to embed its powerful and controversial video generator Sora directly into ChatGPT. This would allow anyone to create videos right inside the chat window, a massive leap in accessibility. From a strategic level, this is OpenAI's super app gambit. The goal is to create a one-stop shop for AI, pulling everything into a single platform. This is a very different path from competitors like Google, which is weaving its AI Gemini into all the apps you already use. And this move is critical for OpenAI. While ChatGPT's market dominance has been huge, it's starting to slip, with Gemini's market share growing over 300% in the last year. OpenAI is betting that a single powerful app can stop the bleeding. But there's another side to this coin. We already saw what happens when Sora is let loose. When a standalone Sora app launched, users almost immediately generated disrespectful deepfakes and videos using copyrighted content. Experts warn that putting Sora inside the world's most popular chatbot will likely worsen the flood of deepfakes. What many might not realize is that integrating a video tool into a conversational chat window creates a brand new security risk. Researchers call it a conversational jailbreak. Instead of a single prompt, users can now have a back and forth conversation, slowly priming the AI and tricking it into bypassing its own safety rules in a way that's much harder to detect. This all comes at a price. Integrating Sora could significantly increase OpenAI's operating costs, potentially forcing price hikes on subscribers who are already starting to see ads. The numbers are truly mind-boggling. Estimates suggest that generating a single 10-second video with Sora costs about $1.30 in pure computing power. That could add up to an astonishing $15 million in operating costs per day. To cover this, OpenAI is already testing new subscription tiers with ads and has signed massive licensing deals, like a reported $1 billion agreement with Disney. So the arc we've been tracking comes full circle. A government pressure campaign meant to discipline one company supercharged its rival, and now OpenAI's counter is to pull Sora into ChatGPT, weaponizing its most powerful tech while raising the stakes on both cost and controversy.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.